Is it working? Alright, my presentation's on Wolff's The Handexemplar of the Goldberg Variations. And my first question was, what in the heck is Handexemplar? And I tried to look it up, and there was no definition. So the best definition I could come up with is it's the published work that Bach had on hand. He wrote in his own corrections and additions and instructions, etc., on this copy, shown in bullet 2. So that's something that we can learn from these things, from that his Handexemplar version of the Goldberg Variations. But the more interesting aspect of this Handexemplar was found in the appendix of it. So Bach stashed away a set of 14 canons based on the first 8 notes of the Goldberg Variations. So Franz Stockenhausen owned this annotated edition, but how, we're not sure. It was discovered in France and given to the J.S. Bach Institute in February of 1975. So, as if 30 variations on this theme weren't enough in the Goldberg Variations, Bach gives us 14 canons that use almost all types of canonic technique, and they're arranged to become increasingly complex as you go on. It's written like riddle notation. It's likened to the riddle canons of the musical offering. And to add more to this little riddle aspect, Bach places his name in the canon, B-A-C-H, or uses the number of his name, so B2, A1, so on and so forth. It adds up to 14, so 14 canons. Although sometimes maybe people are looking into it a little bit much with that, because at the end of the canons, Bach does write etc., as if there could be more. Let's see, and then to get into some of them, numbers 11 and 13 were previously known before 1975. Number 13 is the one that Bach holds in the portrait. Both of these pieces were printed or submitted in the year 1747. It's thought to be independent dedication canons prior to this find, but then now we know it's a whole set. Since it's known that number 13 was written in 1746 and that the Goldberg Variations were published in 1741 or 42 at the latest, so that sets the canon dates to have been written between 1742 and 1746, so late in his life. It can be divided into 3 parts, these 14 canons. Number 1 through 4 is just showing what can be done with a theme alone. 5 through 10 are simple canons. They combine the subject with some canonic free counterpoint. And then 11 through 14 are multiple canons. It gets increasingly complex. A cool website that I found based on this was by Jeff Hall, and I included it in the handout. But he shows, so he has a picture of the original canon and then cleaned up. And then he also gives it in realized notation. So that's kind of what they mean by the riddle notation. It's forward and backwards. Notice the bass clef and everything. They're kind of neat to look at if you want to go to that website and check them out and maybe try and solve them yourself. So it seems that in later years, Bach dived into monothematicism as the Goldberg Variations in 41, the musical offering in 47, the variations on von Himmelhoch in 47 also, and the Art of the Fugue, I think, is in 1745. Those are all based on one subject. So it raises 2 questions for Wolff. One, did Bach find it difficult in his later years to invent new and stimulating musical subject matter, and changed his goal to focusing on the contrapuntal elaboration and refinement of a single musical idea with the aim of exhausting its content? Or, 2, did Bach, in his immense compositional expertise, feel challenged by the complex nature of the few subjects he dealt with in the monothematic works? So challenged that he wished to treat these ideas in every manner possible and thereby demonstrate their inexhaustible wealth. Who knows? Probably the second one, I would think, based off of what we know of Bach. But so these canons are kind of likened to the Art of Fugue, and it shows what can be done in the canon, whereas the Art of the Fugue shows what can be done with the fugue. It's like a teaching kind of tool. So yes, the main point of these canons is it's not for performance necessarily, but more as a theoretical tool, an intellectual challenge for those studying canons. Like the Art of the Fugue, as Bach's textbook on writing the fugue, and like the two-part Inventions, or Bach's textbook for introducing contrapuntal reading for performance, this is yet another one of Bach's textbooks on writing canons. And then I just had a question. So in the book, Christoph Wolff says, quote, although the theme as such was not designed by Bach, ... And so I thought, the theme's not written by Bach, and so I looked into it a little bit, and the only thing I could find was something, this was quoted, I think probably from Wikipedia, but Arnold Schering thought that Bach didn't write the subject, but it is said that Christoph Wolff suggests that there is no basis for such doubts. So that kind of makes me wonder, why is Christoph Wolff, if there's no basis for the doubts, then why was he saying it wasn't designed by Bach? Just makes no sense to me. Help me explain that to me. But yes, that's it. Thank you.